refuse to lose. I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope y'all having a good day so far. I am your host, Davey Dollars. Welcome to Dave's Doghouse on the Refuse to Lose Network. I am live right now on YouTube, Facebook, X, and we now have a Twitch account. So we're live on Twitch as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I'm at 160 subscribers as of today. So do whatever you can to make sure you share this video to as many people as possible. I have a special guest coming on today. And this guy is the reason why we all have a show on this network. He is my brother. I've known him for 10 plus years. We're also going to be live later on today at 7 p.m. So we're doing a double show today. Help me welcome up my guy, Joe Jordan. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, happy to be on. Hopefully, I'm not in a doghouse. Hopefully, I'm in the yard with the other dogs.
I mean, you ain't do nothing crazy, so you a dog, not a puppy child. You're not a puppy. Let's put it that way.
I thought my comments about Jimmy Butler culture will put me in the doghouse. You know, so
it was close.
I want to apologize. I said I was wrong.
It was close. It was close. But nah, man, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, blessed, and highly favored. Let's get it.
I see. Hey, something looks different about your background, man. I mean, you got a new location or something?
Yeah, you know, it's still under construction, as you can see. I'm not as, very, can't think of the word. The background is very got an illustrator in the background. I don't have one of those plain white. You just see hope on the top.
There you go.
So as long as we're here, we got some hope.
There you go. Today, definitely got some really good topics to talk about, man. We had some breaking news that happened today, and we'll be talking about that as well. Like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe as we talk about everything that's going to go on today. And Joe's going to be right here with me. So, he may not agree on everything I say, so he's going to have some comments himself. And, that's kind of what the show is for. It's not here for everyone to agree, because this is all come from my own perspective and how I feel about things. And everyone's perspective is going to be different. So, Joe, we're going to go ahead and get started with the very first segment. And we know what this is. It's the doghouse, or as we call Puppy Child. This is where those that don't do well in the sports world actually get put into the doghouse for not doing their job well. Whether it's an analyst, an interpreter, a sports, someone in basketball, football, doesn't matter what sport it is. If you're involved in sports in somehow, some way, you have an opportunity to be put into the doghouse. And it's not a good opportunity. That's actually bad. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the very first one, Joe. This guy actually went to my favorite college and college basketball. He went to Duke University. He's considered one of the best players to come from Duke. He's a sharpshooter. He has a very high IQ. And this was his very first year as a head coach this year, Joe. And he coached the Lakers and LeBron, and a lot of people questioned it. And it's JJ Redick. JJ Redick is going to be being served puppy child today. Why is he being served puppy child? I mean, Dave, he a rookie head coach. It's his first season. I understand that, but wasn't he getting a lot of credit for getting them there? Wasn't people saying that they was going to make it to the finals this year? That he was, quote unquote, the next Pat Riley? So, you know, he deserves some praise for what he's done, but he also deserves some criticism, at least for 4 and 5. The last 2 games are pretty much on JJ Redick. They were out rebounded terribly. He had Rudy Gobert looking like Shaq in the last game. The man had 27 points and 24 rebounds on 80% shooting. He was 12 and 15 from the field, Joe. The man looked like he was unstoppable. And because he decided not to play his big man, Jackson Hayes, at all in the game. Instead, he turned around and started Dorian Finney-Smith because they needed scoring. Look, I understand you needed scoring, but I think you should at least still play Jackson Hayes at least 15 minutes in the game. I'm not asking him to play 30 minutes in the game, nothing like that, because I understand that he was kind of sort of becoming unplayable because he was already getting out rebounded. But still, you don't want to be a huge advantage on the boards, and you made it pretty much a mismatch in Game 5. It was not much you could do, and then in Game 4. You didn't play anyone on the bench. Your entire starting 5 was there from start to finish in the 3rd and 4th quarter. You mean there wasn't one person on the bench you could use? I mean, Dawg Connect, y'all drafted him in the 1st round this year. You decided not to use him? Gabe Vincent has been in this situation before. You didn't want to use at least your point guard. I understand he's been underwhelming the 2 years he's been with y'all. I mean, the first year he was injured pretty much the entire season. And then this year he was up and down, especially in the regular season. So I can understand that, but Dorian Finney-Smith he was on your bench and you didn't use him, but he became a starter in Game 5. That doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I don't know. I think JJ Redick, I don't think he's going to be here that long. I mean, I understand this is the off season, but I do believe that more than likely when the NBA season starts, Lakers are going to get off to a good start because they got LeBron and Luka. Well, who knows about Luka? Honestly, we don't know if he's going to be with the Lakers or not next season, but it's assumed that he's going to be there. And LeBron, I mean, he's not going to take a pay cut. He already said that it's been assumed that he's not going to take a pay cut this year. But I just feel like the last 2 just shouldn't have gone the way that it did, Joe. I mean, again, Rudy he looked like he was good, and this game could have been a lot worse because the Timberwolves shot terrible from 3. Just imagine if they were making those open threes, Joe, they probably would have lost this game by 20, 30 points. And Ant only had 15 points in this game because he was jacking from 3 most of the time. And they didn't shoot well from the free throw line. I think they only shot like 73% of the free throw line. So just imagine if they made their free throws and they made their threes. This game could have been a lot worse. How you feel about this, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, good call. I think JJ Redick deserved. First, let me say this. I feel like he had a good season for a first-year head coach, and I'm pretty sure you agree too. He did a good job this year. The Lakers finished the season better than I think all of us expected them to finish. And we can't say because of Luka, because they were around the 4th seed when Luka got there. So I want to give him some props for making them look good in the regular season. But you're 100% right. It's his fault. And the thing is, in Game 4, when he played the 5 for the whole second half, my issue is this. Everybody keeps saying, it was a do-or-die moment. You know, like he felt as though it was the best lineup. If they don't win this game, it's over. Okay. But you had opportunities to give your guys a breather. Like when you went into the 4th quarter, you were up by 10.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, when you got a 10, 8-point lead, take somebody out, take Bron out, take Luka out, like rotate these guys so they can have more fresh legs and arms down the stretch because Bron didn't even score in clutch time. He didn't even score. He didn't score in the 4th quarter, I don't think. So that was his part. And then stubbornness. Game 5. he comes out and says that they're not going to play Jackson Hayes. And then you see how the game unfolds. And he stuck to what he said. I'm not going to play Jackson Hayes because of stubbornness. I think it's because of stubbornness. He was like, in back of his mind, it's probably best if I put in Jackson Hayes, but I'm not going to do it because I already said I'm not going to do it. And then paying Max Kleber, Dave, until you put the report out, I forgot he was on the team.
I did too. I forgot he was a part of the Luka trade. And then he only played it for like 5 minutes. It was like, what was the point?
And those minutes were bad. He didn't do nothing.
No.
He was terrible defensively. He was bad. Rust. It's a playoff game, the regular season. You don't just throw somebody in a playoff game like that. So I feel like he deserves to be in the doghouse. And another thing I like about JJ, he don't take accountability. You listen to his press conference, he's not saying I should have did this, I should have did that. We gotta get in championship shape. We gotta do this. Like he basically using the word "we" to point out everybody else. You know, but instead of talking about what he did wrong, he gets mad at the presser, at the guy who asked him about, do you lean on your coaches? Which you think I don't lean on my coaches? I do that every time. And then he gets up and walks off. It's a fair question. You're a first-year head coach.
Just answer it. It's either yes or no. Like, yes, I lean on them. Like, that's it.
He took it as an attack. But when you feel attacked, you're usually guilty. That's how it is. So, deservedly so, he deserves to be in the doghouse.
And another thing, Joe, not only that, Jackson Hayes was asked about him being benched. And he said, JJ said, we got to try something else. This is not the time to try something. This is possibly, well, it ended up being your last game, but this was possibly your last game of the playoffs. And you're trying something in game 5 and you're down 3-1. That don't make sense. If it was 2-2, okay. Maybe it's a little bit more acceptable because it's 2-2. You still got another game after that. But you're down 3-1. It's not looking good right now. So, JJ, you my guy. I still love you, JJ, but you ain't no different from nobody else. I don't put Pat Riley in here, so you ain't no different. And that's the guy they said you're supposed to be like. So guess what? You're gonna be in the same place as him. Welcome to the dog. My guy, you in the doghouse.
JJ, Ray J, Payday, T Wolves in 5.
That's what everyone's saying. Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers at 5. Guess what?
Yeah, we put us in he put in the hallway. Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers at 5. All right, man.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Now, Joe, we had something crazy happen in the playoffs. And look, I'm gonna let y'all know this now. This is all playoff related. So everyone on here are in the playoffs at this are in or just recently got put out. We saw something that we've probably I don't know if I've ever seen this happen before in basketball, where if the player did something about this, they would have been suspended, fined, and everyone would have been talking about it. Because not only did this happen to a player, this is a former 2-time MVP, a finals MVP at that. Tyrese Halliburton's dad. I believe his name is John Halliburton. Yes, I'm putting him in the doghouse. What he did was absolutely wrong. It doesn't matter if he's Tyrese's dad. It doesn't matter who he is. He's not a player. He's not out there playing basketball. His son is. He had no right to run on the court and then put, I think it was a thing of Tyrese right in front of Giannis's face, and he was talking smack to him as if he was the one playing in the game. So he rightfully should have felt disrespected. I mean, I'm talking about Giannis. Giannis was like, Slim, you just can't just run on the court and just talk to me like that. That's an issue. And because of this, the Pacers took it into their own hands and said that, you know what, for the rest of the playoffs, you are banned. You can't come to a home game or an away game. You can't. You can go somewhere else and go watch another game for another team, but you will not have that happen again. Because Joe, what if Giannis hit him? What if not even hit him? What if Giannis just picked him up and dropped him? He would have gotten suspended immediately, and he would have been fine. He crossed the line. And Tyrese Halliburton definitely agreed with it. He said, yeah, my dad was wrong. I didn't even know it happened until afterwards. So he knew he was wrong. And not only that, Joe, the man goes on the news and gets interviewed about it. And his answer was, I wasn't looking at him. I was looking through him. Look how he ain't see through. He not see through. Come on, man. That's the lamest. That's a terrible answer. First of all, I understand you're Tyrese Halliburton's dad, and you hear that Tyrese Halliburton he's the most overrated player in the league. You had Tim Hardaway Sr. talking about him as well. Dame was talking trash to him when he wasn't even playing in the game yet. He was hurt, and he was talking trash to him. And your son does something amazing on the last play, pretty much to put them past them when they should have lost the game, but Tyrese Halliburton came up in the clutch and put Giannis on skates and rode past him and made the game-winning bucket against him. So I get all of the emotions in that, but that was downright wrong. And maybe he shouldn't have been banned for the entire playoffs. Maybe he should have just had some access taken away. That ain't for me to say, because I'm not the one that's in position to make those calls, to make that to give him that punishment. I don't want to say punishment, but technically it is a punishment whether you say it or not. But there's no way if that happened in any other place, if that happened back when the Bad Boy Pistons were playing, the man would have been knocked out. I'm just saying, if that happened back when Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson and Ron Artest was on the Pacers, this would have went left. Especially with Ben Wallace and Rasheed, man. No way that this would have happened. No way this would have happened. How you feel about it, Joe?
Another person rightfully so deserves to be in the doghouse. I mean, the man was Tyrese's dad, and it was acting like Tyrese's stepdad on Baby Boy. That's what he's acting like. He thought he was strong or something. But when his interview, first of all, when you saw what happened, he runs on the court when he's not supposed to do that. Start there, right? He runs to the court when the game is immediately over. It's a high emotions game. We're talking about a game that the Bucks should have walked away with a W. But Gary Trent Jr., it happened. And then Giannis got scored on. Giannis, like you said, gets scored on by Tyrese. For the game winner, they tried to throw a heave. It didn't work. Game over. Giannis is sitting there like soaking it in. Like he's like, dang. In the middle of him doing this, you walk past him, looking the other way. And then you turn around and look directly at Giannis and start doing this. And Giannis ain't saying nothing. He just sitting there looking at him while he's doing this. Giannis said nothing to him. And he was like, okay. Then Giannis said, you know what? Emotions high. Emotions real high. And you know how it is. He's like, no, I'm going to say something to this dude. He goes to him, forehead to forehead. I know Giannis so bad want to just back at him or something, right?
He wanted to do something.
Yeah, right? So he's yelling. They're yelling. Now, his story, I do believe his story of that conversation. He was saying, like, I wasn't trying to disrespect you. Because Giannis was saying, don't disrespect me. And he said, I wasn't trying to disrespect you. And then you saw they, like, tap chest, and he said, okay, and walked off. So I kind of believe his story when he said, yo, emotion just high. I wasn't looking at Giannis. I was looking through him. It sounds crazy. But I do believe the emotions were high situation. But no matter how he tried to slice the story up, he's dead wrong. He's dead wrong. Like you said, he crossed the line, literally crossed the line. Why are you on the court?
Max.
So I actually think that the Pacers, not the NBA, the Pacers did the right thing by basically banning him for the foreseeable future. Not just home games, but away games. He can't come. He can't come. And it's sad because his dad, but you got to be able to control your emotions. Just like you said, Dave, you don't have to be a player. You don't have to be an executive. You don't have to be a coach or a GM. If you related to anybody in the sports world, you could be in the doghouse. Just like you could be in the doghouse, you could suffer for your consequences. Fans get banned, Dave. Just like putting trash in the stands. They get banned. But like you say something in the Westbrook I said Westbrook, he was the main one to be doing it. Hey, this dude talking, you get kicked out and they ban you sometimes.
Remember,
So,
Braun did that too. Braun he grabbed the ref. It was like, hey, them right there. You need to get
yes,
up out of here.
and these people were courtside seats that paid a lot of money to get there. So we talking about a guy who didn't pay for a seat. Tyrese got him a seat, probably most likely. He is a father, but you did some work. You came on the court and started waving the guy who hit the game win on him and flag in his face, jersey in his face. Come on, man, you can't do that. So rightfully so, he's in the doghouse.
Taunting that, man, that's crazy. And Joe, remember, some NBA players get banned too. Remember when Pat Bev was with the Bucks and he threw a basketball to a fan? He ain't been in the NBA since. They sent him back to Israel. that man's been in the NBA since. So,
man, let that man run out test. He walked up to like that, man.
I'm telling you, Joe.
Or Jermaine O'Neal.
He would have been in the hospital. He'd have been in the ICU. I already know it. And I'm not wishing this upon him, but all I'm saying is I'm just speaking reality. We've seen what Ron Artest did when somebody threw beer on him. So
he stole and walked up on him on the court. A fan walked up on him on that same night. A fan walked up on him on the court as he's coming off, and he stole him and dropped him.
And remember, Jermaine O'Neal had the famous sliding punch. Duke. So trust me. Hey, look, y'all are lucky. This is not the 90s or early 2000s. You lucky this is the NBA now. Back then, trust me, this would have been handled a whole lot differently. But Mr. Halliburton, you're in the doghouse. My guy, you're in the doghouse. All right, Joe. This one right here.
Real quick, better be in the doghouse in the hospital.
Exactly. Absolutely. This one right here. I've already had an outburst already. I'm going to do my best to contain myself today because it's not that I expected a different result, but I at least expected some kind of effort in the result. So if y'all don't know me by now, I am going to purposely change my background so you can understand where I'm coming from. This is Heat Culture. Joe, we had a segment on our main show where we talked about Heat Culture. And one thing is toughness, professionalism, effort, defense, everyone playing their heart out. Well, that's not what I saw in the last two games at home in Miami. Joe, we lost by 37 points in game 3. No one even talks about it that much because we lost by 55 in game 4. Not only that, Joe, not only that, good old Tyler Hero, as we call him, Boy Wonder. That's what we call him in Miami. We call him Boy Wonder. He put up a measly 4 points in game 4. That was after he only had 13 points in game 3. Joe, we lost by a total of 92 points in games 3 and 4 at home. 92 points? That's ridiculous. We almost lost game 4 by 60. I can't believe this. I can't. This is what I mean when I say that's not Heat culture. And the Miami Heat have been playing flameless basketball because there was nothing on fire, nothing. And then the person that pissed me off in game 2 is the only person that had 27 points in game 4. And that's Nikola Jovic. He had 24 points in that game, but it meant nothing. Those were clearly garbage points. And the game started off bad. They went on like a 20-something to 3 run in the first quarter. It was, Joe, I didn't need to take notes, but I did it anyway because this is how much I was up. at the results of this game, Joe. The Miami Heat, Joe, got out rebounded terribly in game 3. We didn't even have 30 rebounds in game 3. As a team, Joe. As a team, we didn't have 30 rebounds. We had 29. They had 33 defensive rebounds alone. So even if they didn't have an offensive board, they still would have out-rebounded us, Joe. But you know what? We shot 47% from 3 in game 3. You know, that's cool. That's cool. But guess what? We shot 20% from 3 in game 4. 20.4% to be exact. And 36% from the field. We looked absolutely horrendous. Bam didn't play well. He had 13 and 12, but that ain't enough. That's not going to do nothing. Andrew Wiggins had 12 points. That does nothing. Tyler Hero was 1 of 9 from 3. 1 of 10 from the field. The man was 10% from the field. That's trash. That's absolutely what it is. It's trash. The Miami Heat just looks, and now I'm hearing Pat Riley's contemplating retirement. You don't need to contemplate. You don't. Just send the papers in. Just send the papers in and say that's it. You're 80 years old, Pat, and you're still thinking like this is back when you first took over the Miami Heat. It's not the same thing. People already talk about you done ran superstars out of the building, and you have. You ran Alonzo Mourning out. You ran Shaq out. You ran D Wade out, and then tried to make it for it by breaking it back. You ran LeBron James out, and you just ran out Jimmy Butler. We told you what we needed. We needed Jimmy Butler to be there because he was the epitome of Heat culture. What you wanted in the leader is what Jimmy Butler bought. Bam, as much as we try to give him the keys, he ain't that. I'm sorry. He's not that kind of a leader. And Tyler Hero, he's not either. I'm sorry. You cannot win a championship or be a contending championship team with those two guys as your two best players. It's just not going to happen. You need someone else there to do that. And Jimmy Butler was perfect for it. And you messed that up by not giving him the contract, because honestly, he wanted the contract because you weren't surrounding him with talent. If you surrounded him with better talent, he probably wouldn't have asked for that kind of an extension. That's another thing that Miami Heat fans aren't understanding. Yes, he wanted the money, but that's because you weren't surrounding him with talent. You missed out on Dame. You missed out on Giannis. You missed out on, and now I'm hearing Giannis might come back. He might be on the thing again, but I don't see it happening. You missed out on LaMarcus Aldridge. I didn't even mention that one. You missed out on Kevin Durant. You missed out on Kyrie Irving. You missed out on James Harden. Every time there's a star that comes out, you hear Miami Heat is linked to it, but then the Miami Heat doesn't have anything to give them. And then this year, when we could have had an asset we could have added something else to have an asset to get somebody. You know what? Miami Heat goes out and wins the last playoff game against the Atlanta Hawks. And all of that to lose that first round pick to give it to OKC. OKC don't need another first round pick. They already have 2. You just gave them a 3rd. OKC has an opportunity to be 7th or 8th in the lottery. They have pick 15, and I think it's pick 20 something else as well. They have 3 first round picks for this season alone. And they got the best record in the NBA. Why would you not? I get it. You don't want to tank, but you don't want to give the best team in basketball 3 first round picks. Yeah, that means you're giving them ammo to go get another player, or you're giving them another star player that they don't really need. But I did my best to contain myself. I didn't knock the mic down this time. So, Joe, go ahead.
Boy, wonder. Man, I wonder where he was those last 2 games. But man, that was just, I get you, man. You lose a pick just to get swept like that, and it was horrible. It was a bad scene. Pat Riley, man, you need to retire, like you said, or give the reins to somebody else, or have another role. I mean, I don't know, like do something. Just give the duties of somebody else, bringing in these star players. Give it to somebody else, because he sounds like he's very stubborn. I don't really know too much about Pat Riley. I know you are like in the Heat coach here. You know a lot more than me. But based off how he's moving, especially with the Jimmy Butler situation, he sounds like he's a stubborn guy. The fact that he was trying to find Jimmy Butler, all that stuff, like he was creating bad blood with Jimmy Butler, and that doesn't attract a superstar to want to come play for you because they see how you're treating this superstar. And we talked about D-Wade before, how he didn't want to pay D-Wade. And D-Wade has been like, he's been the reason why y'all been relevant since the old days, for real.
He won us our first championship in franchise history.
And then when he won
his third season in the league, he averaged 36 in the finals.
Nobody expected y'all to get to the finals that year and win it. Nobody. Even when y'all got there, being down 0-2, we like, it's Dirk and them boys. And, and y'all came back and won 4 straight off the back of D-Wade. So, if you don't want, and like you said, you kind of schooled me on the show, he coaching is something that Pat Riley did lay out, but you need somebody to implement the culture to the rest of the team. You need a player to do that. And D-Wade was that guy for years, straight dog. And then it's time to get paid. Like you said, LeBron, like, I ain't taking nothing less than the max. And the Lakers, like, we got you. They keep continue to pay y'all. Steph Curry, we got you. We're going to continue to pay you. So, and I'm pretty sure KD was anywhere. If he stayed in OKC his whole career, it would have been the same thing. They would have been like, we got you. We're going to continue to pay you. So Dwayne Wade, like, yo, I need my money. He's like, no, he got to go to Chicago. That's crazy. So LeBron comes out with the story about the cookies. You know what I mean? With the cookies and stuff, which I don't know how true that is. That's LeBron James,
Nah, Dwayne Wade verified it. So it's
he verified it, LeBron acting like he read it when he's strolling to playing the game. LeBron, you can't trust LeBron nowadays. Anyway, but
that's facts.
But if Dwayne Wade confirmed it, well, Pat Riley is stubborn. But like you say, he's 80. I mean, I don't want to attack people who's 80, but because God willing, I get to 80. But you kind of, most people that old, you stuck in your ways, bro. Like, what can you tell me? Like, hey, I'm 34. If a 16-year-old try to talk to me, I'm like, what do you know? So if an 80-year-old come through and he got these 20s and 30-year-old guys, he like, boy, I've been one of the best players in college. I've been one of the best players I've been a really good player in the NBA. I've been a good coach and a GM, and you trying to tell me something? So I think he's really stubborn. That's his problem. And he got to move on.
Got to, man. And I mean, Eric Spoelstra, there's only so much he could do with the rosters that he's been given. Eric Spoelstra is, I know some people are saying that Eric Spoelstra should be on the hot seat, and that's me. I'm saying that he possibly should be too, because there are times where I question his coaching. But even still, it's only so much he can do when his best players are Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo.
Can I say something too?
Mm-hmm.
Bam Adebayo in his press conference, he said they asked him about what changes that got to be made, and he said, I don't want to mess with what he said, but he mentioned Pat Riley. He said we got to deal with the guy with the silver hair.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh snap! And then Eric Spoelstra, I love his press conference. He said it was a humbling experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like we came into the series thinking we could win, and the Cavs showed us that we were not going to win. Basically, he understands that, like, yo, this roster sucks.
Exactly. Because him and Pat have been on that same thing where it's just like, man, just give us an opportunity to get in there and we can make something happen. That was the case because you had Jimmy Butler. You don't have him anymore. So and that was my whole thing. That's what I was trying to tell a lot of Heat fans. And I was just like, bro, I get what y'all are saying, but we're not going to be competitive if we don't have Jimmy. Like, Jimmy is that guy. And he shows that. And now that he's in Golden State, people are seeing this like, man, I'm missing. I should have missed him while he was here. I told y'all what we were losing. Y'all didn't want to hear me. So now he's gone. He's in a better situation right now. I understand that they still have a game tonight. So we're gonna see what happens with there. But I'm letting you know, he's still my guy. So Miami Heat. And that's Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, all the players. This is the entire Mickey Arison, because you ain't tell Pat he need to go. So all of y'all. are in the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
Now we move on to another segment I have. It's an honorable mention. And this one is something that just recently happened today. And I had another plan to talk about someone else, but I mentioned him when I was talking about JJ Redick. I was going to talk about Rudy Gobert because he had a monster game, 27 points, 24 rebounds. But I feel like this makes more sense to talk about it now because Greg Popovich is now moving on from being a head coach, and he's going to be just the team president full time now. Greg Popovich, 76 years old. He was the Spurs head coach since 1996. I was 5 years old. That's a long time ago. I believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. I think that's without a doubt. Most wins ever by a head coach, third in playoff wins. He's a 5-time NBA champion, 3 times coach of the year. He's coached some of the best players in NBA history. David Robinson, you think about Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Boris Diaw play for them, Kawhi Leonard, my guy Bruce Bowen, that's one of my favorite defensive players that's played in the NBA. He's one of the top coaches in NBA history. There's some people who had questions saying that he's better than Phil Jackson. I'm not here to make that argument, but let me tell you the list of teams that he has more playoff wins than. The Atlanta Hawks, Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns, the Rockets, the Bucks, Jazz, Cavs, Pacers, Trailblazers, Mavericks, Nuggets, Wizards, Kings, Nets, Clippers, Magic, Raptors, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Hornets, and Pelicans. That's more than half the league.
I knew our name was coming.
I mean, I knew our name was coming when I saw the list. I was like, I know we up there. I know we up there. But Greg Popovich, if y'all don't know what's been happening with Greg Popovich this season, he had another health scare. And this is something that I talked about a long time ago. He pretty much missed the remainder of the season because he started off in the regular season as well, but he had a mild stroke that he suffered in November of 2024, and he's pretty much been sidelined since then. And I've always said that I think it's just best that he just go ahead and retire. I mean, but it's good that he's still a part of the team. He's a team president, but he doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to have the stress of coaching or anything like that anymore. So I'm glad that he's doing a lot better health wise, and he now can more focus on something else, like hiring a new head coach. Who knows? I think this might be the perfect opportunity to go hire Mike Malone, because Mike Malone was under Greg Popovich, and this seems like a perfect fit for him. So that might be. I believe he's probably going to be the top candidate to be the head coach for the Spurs next. But this was one of the.
They had promoted Mitch Johnson, the interim coach. They promoted him to head coach.
Oh, okay. So it's in house, so it still makes a lot of sense. And I believe I mentioned Tim Duncan, didn't I? I thought
hopefully you did. Hopefully it was the first name.
I know I said Dave Robinson, but I believe Tim Duncan was like right after that. I believe I said Dave Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. So, but if not, then appreciate you, Vaughn, for the correction if I did not mention Tim Duncan. But this was, like I said, this was not shocking to see, but I'm just glad that he's focused more on his health right now, and he can focus on other things other than coaching. Joe?
Yeah, man. Hey, your health is wealth. Take care of your health. Coaching could be very stressful. Especially in the NBA, it's an 82-game season. You're constantly traveling. I mean, it's just you constantly managing people, not just your players, your coaching staff. Because to be a head coach, you got to develop players and develop coaches. So I think that him stepping into the GM role is going to be a good opportunity for him and for the NBA. Like Pop, he tend to break barriers. Like he hired Becky Hammond to be his assistant coach. That was unheard of to have a
Mm-hmm.
bench like that as a assistant coach. So he seems like a real nice guy too. So I wonder how he's gonna be because as a GM, you gotta make tough decisions. See, head coach, your tough decisions is based on who gonna play and who not gonna play. That's your tough decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But as a GM, you gotta like cut people, sign them, trade them. You gotta let go of. You gotta make hard decisions as a GM.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, he seems like a very nice guy. Like giving the interim coach the opportunity to coach the team is the first example of him being a nice guy. Like instead of unless he already surfaced the area to see what's the best option for them, and he already have done this. But if he didn't, then he just said we're just gonna promote him as a head coach. There you go, nice guy, right? So I want to see how he's gonna be in this role. But kudos to him, kudos to the Spurs organization. Just take care of yourself, man. That's more important. And the fact that he still could be a part of the Spurs organization, I think is very good. And he's coached Wemby, so he knows what to put around Wemby. You know what I mean? He knows the type of talent Wemby needs around him to put him in the best situation.
Yep. He went and got De'Aaron Fox to help him out. As a guy that very well, Joe. That's somebody that they said that Wemby wanted to play with, and who Fox wanted to play with. They wanted to play with each other, so now they're on the same team. We're going to see how that happens. Yes, Stephon Castle, who won Rookie of the Year this year. So you got some things going for you going forward. You already hired you already got your head coach, promoted him. So let's see what happens. But Pop, I'm definitely very happy that you're doing a lot better now, and that you're still a part of the team because you deserve it. Like I said, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. Appreciate you, Pop. Okay, now we get to the dogs of the week. Those that actually do well in sports. And first up, he was actually a part of the situation that we just talked about in the doghouse, Joe. He was the player on the other end of John Halliburton. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Whew.
Now, I know I'm going to hear somebody say, well, you know what? They haven't won much with him the last 9 games. They were 1-8 in the last 9 playoff games that Giannis has started in. I do want y'all to know that Doc Rivers was his head coach while that happened. So, but Giannis though,
So no, okay, go ahead.
Giannis actually had a really good season, minus them being eliminated in 5 games. So for the regular season, he played in 67 games this year. He averaged 30 and 12 with 6.5 assists, about a steal and a block a game, shooting 60% from the field. In the postseason, his points went up, rebounds went up, assists went up, steals and blocks was kind of sort of the same, and his field goal percentage went up. He was the only player to average 30 plus points per game on 60+% field goal percentage, and he did it 2 seasons in a row. No one else has done this other than Giannis. In Game 5, he put up 30 points, 20 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. That was the first 30, 20, 10, 2-2 playoff game in NBA history. No one else has done that. He's top 5 in true shooting percentage in the playoffs this year. He's actually number 5. And in the first 4 games, he averaged nothing less than 28 points in the first 4 playoff games, and they only won 1 game out of that. They were down 3-1, but I mean, it wasn't because he wasn't doing anything, it's because nothing else around him worked. And Dame only played from 2 on, and he ended up getting injured. He tore his Achilles. Was it his Achilles or his ACL? I think it was his Achilles.
Achilles.
So tore his Achilles. He's going to be out for half the season at minimum. But Giannis had a really good playoffs. I mean, the man averaged 33 points through the playoffs this season. He's still a phenomenal player, and now there's questions about where is he going to go? Is he going to stay with the Bucks or is he going to leave? Giannis has flirted with leaving before. When he got his first contract, he talked about he possibly might leave just because he wants to keep winning. So we don't know what's going to happen. And I had already said this before, but the Miami Heat are going to be in the conversation as far as someone interested in him. I already hear Miami Heat fans saying, Giannis, you're a Miami Heat. No, he's not. Just stop it. But the Spurs are interested in getting him. So just imagine if the Spurs, you got Giannis, Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox. I mean, that would be a crazy thing to happen, but who knows? Someone on that team is going to have to be a part of that trade. And then the Rockets, they said the Rockets are in that conversation to possibly go after Giannis as well. But Giannis had a really good regular season, really good playoffs. It's just, his team came up on losing the end, but that doesn't take away from what he did as a player. So Giannis is the dog. Joe?
Would be a good location for Giannis? The Orlando Magic.
Joe, oh my goodness. As soon as you said that, that's the first thing that popped in my mind was the Orlando Magic.
They could give up
him and Paolo.
They have to give up France.
Yeah, him and Paolo, crazy.
Yeah, Paolo's
crazy.
The reason why I thought about that, this is what I'm about to say about Giannis. When I look at all the big men in history since maybe the 90s, right? You look at all the big men who won a championship. You look at Hakeem Olajuwon. You look at Shaq. Look at Tim Duncan. Kevin Garnett. Giannis himself. Who
Dwight
else?
Howard.
Dwight Howard didn't win.
I mean, he did win the championship. He won with the Lakers in 2020. I know what you said. I know what you said. I just had to mention it.
AD. Do you use AD?
Jokic.
AD, right? AD. So the similarities for all those guys who won, Shaq had Kobe. Tim Duncan, he had Ginobili, Parker, but he also was a closer because he had a go-to shot. He had that mid he got. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, but Kevin Garnett is also a closer himself. He got a mean jump shot. Olajuwon is a closer. And who else we named? AD is also skillful enough to close too. Giannis is not. When Giannis won, he had Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was his closer. So he needs a closer. And Dame is supposed to be the closer, but Dame is dealing with injuries. So if he goes to Orlando, Paolo is a closer. And get rid of France because you get rid of France, Jonathan Isaac, who they've been holding on to for years. Because Orlando got a lot of young assets. You keep subs, and you have Paolo, you have Giannis, and you surround them boys with shooters. Just get some threes, some shooters. People will want to play with that. They saw what Paolo did in his playoffs. They know about Giannis. Come on now. And you stay in the East. You don't go to the West, but West is tough. The East is an easier road, you can say. So I think that would be a good destination for Giannis. And it's Disney.
You're right. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because
shout out to Bibby.
The only thing is they got to surround it with some shooters. Orlando don't have a lot of shooters on that team. That's the only thing.
Yeah, they have to work with their roster. And they could always trade for some guys. I don't know, but they're going to make it work because getting rid of Franz Wagner's contract he just signed, it might match his. I got to look at the contract situation, but you got Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, and those other guys in there, and you just take Giannis. And then that empty, because you're gonna have some empty space for the you sign some guys. Guys will want to sign, get some vets, I don't know, make it work. That's their job.
Absolutely. But if we got a way to get him, then yeah, that makes sense. Or Joe, the Hawks. The Hawks might be a good spot too. Because you got Trae Young.
Yeah, but Trae Young
you got a closer right there.
Yeah, but Trae Young, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they'll win a championship. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see that. But Trae Young, because Trae Young has his deficiency. He's small. He's tiny.
He does. But remember, he got his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
he did.
Just saying, it's possible.
I like Orlando. Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they lost 4-1 too, so I guess it makes sense. Guess it makes sense. I mean, at least they didn't get swept. At least they get swept. But Giannis, nonetheless, your dog. Okay. Now, the other person that I decided that I believe I should be talking about today is a guy who was traded this season from the East to the West. And no, it's not the craziest trade that happened. I mean, because they both were in the West, so of course that doesn't count. And it wasn't Jimmy Butler. I'm not talking about Jimmy Butler today. I am talking about someone that he was compared to before on this show. Julius Randle. Julius Randle is a dog. The guy deserves his respect. He went from the Knicks to the Timberwolves, and people were saying that the Knicks might be the winners in this trade just because of Cat and look. Both of those guys have both advanced to the second round. The only difference is Julius Randle was the underdog. The Wolves were not expected to win this. They had a 28% chance to win this series before it started, and they won this 4-1. Julius Randle averaged 23 points per game in this series. Now, that's not a lot, but it's still something that matters because, Joe, you know what? In the last 31 games for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves won 26 of 31 of the last 31 games that Julius Randle played in. So he is a huge reason why that happened. Huge reason. And then not only that, Joe, in that last game, it wasn't that he didn't score 30, but it seemed like every bucket he made a difference. Almost every bucket. And he was hustling on defense. He was getting key rebounds in that game. I mean, he was playing LeBron tough on defense. He really was. He was making the team. And remember, he was a former teammate of Brown. People forget about that. He was a former teammate. And he was one of the few players that got traded. Lonzo Ball ended up getting traded. I think Lonzo was probably gone before LeBron got there. But Lonzo Ball got traded. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, those were the three guys.
Same trade.
All of them got shipped away. So this was a revenge series for him too. This was a revenge game for him. This man had to play against his former team that he got drafted to, and he got traded away once LeBron got there. And, I know this feels great for him that he's like, man, look, I got traded after you got here. And now, look, you out of the playoffs because of me. The last 2 seasons, the Lakers have been put out in the first round. Last 2 seasons. LeBron he's gotten to the Western Conference only 2 times since he's been a Laker. In the bubble. And just a couple seasons, maybe I think like 2 or 3 seasons ago, when they were the seventh seed in the from the play-in tournament. That was the same year that the Miami Heat went all the way to the finals when they played against the Nuggets. So yeah, it was two seasons ago. But since then, I mean, it's been inconsistent. And there was always an argument about LeBron James coasting through the East. And then some people saying, man, he gonna do it in the West too. Well, don't look like that to me. Now I get it, he's 40, but he was also 40 when y'all was saying he was a top 10, top 5 player in the league. So you gotta balance it out. But Julius Randle has definitely had a phenomenal season this year, and this is where a lot of people were questioning him because he hasn't really been that really good in the playoffs lately. Remember when he was the Knicks? That's when he folded pretty much. He wasn't the same player in the playoffs, but this year in the playoffs, you could tell that he's playing a lot different, and that's kudos to Anthony Edwards' leadership because he praises all of his guys, and Julius Randle's definitely one of them, and Ant has been outspoken about Julius Randle and the rest of his teammates. Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels. I said the right one this time, Joe. And Julius Randle has just been a big piece for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Joe.
LeBron, cool time, full time, they folding. T wasn't five. Anyways, Julius Randle, man, he was really good. One of the reasons why I picked the Lakers, one of the reasons because of Julius Randle. I didn't trust him in the playoffs. His playoff performances in the past have been bad. Don't get me wrong, his last playoff performance, he was hurt. And we forget about that. He was playing with an injury. And so he didn't look the same. But it was a huge drop-off in the playoffs. But this playoff series, he was very physical. Offensively and defensively. Offensively, he didn't settle for three a lot. He lived in that mid-post. He was getting big offensive rebound, like you said, and that would energize the crowd. He was drawing fouls. He played good on defense on LeBron James because he could match LeBron's size. He was just phenomenal in this series. And I want to give him props. He deserves all the credit. He averaged, like you said, 23 points a game. He was their second best player in this series. And I heard somebody say that might say that the duo from the Timberwolves were a better duo collectively, offensively, defensively wise, than the Lakers duo, Luka and LeBron. There's an argument you could put there. So the fact that Julius Randle is being talked about in the duo that could be better than LeBron and Luka is super high praises for him. And I know one thing I did think, him coming to Minnesota, he does matches the dog mentality Anthony Edwards has. Like he matches that. I just felt like people overkill Cat because of the expectations for Cat. Like Cat is so talented, like AD, literally like AD. You expect AD to be this, but he will bring you here sometimes. But even here sometimes is better than what most guys do, So, and that's how Cat is. Cat is the same way, but he ain't a dog though. Julius, like Cat was in this series, they might have lost. I'm not gonna lie, they would have lost. But Julius Randle was a better fit for this series particular because of the LeBron James matchup and his physicality, what they needed to win the series. So shout out to Julius Randle. He deserves all the credit. He's definitely a dog.
Absolutely, man. So, baby, I hope you watched that. I hope you heard what we said about Brown. Because your boy Julius Randle, who guarded him, is the dog.
Like a dog myself.
I mean, you are, Joe. You on the show, so you are a dog. I forgot to give y'all a hint on the big dog, but just know he's involved in this as well. He's in the playoffs as well, and someone that's close to him is also here. Two people that are close to him are actually here. So you figure out who that is when we get to that part. But before we get to that, this guy was actually a part of the team that put him out in the playoffs last year. And he was considered, some people call him soft, or as my guy Carl will say, he has no aura. He also played at Duke University. One of the best Duke players to have ever played at Duke. And he actually was, he was a one year wonder with Duke. A lot of respect for Coach K. Jason Tatum. Since the 2020s, this is where he ranks amongst players. First in wins, first in points, first in threes, first in stocks, second in rebounds, second in assists, third in steals, fourth in blocks. That's in the 2020s. That's for the last 5 years at least. This postseason, he's averaging 31 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.5 steals. He's leading the Celtics in points per game and rebounds per game. He's not a center, y'all. Remember, they still got Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford. He leads the team in rebounds. He is one of just 3 players to have 15 30-point playoff games over the last 3 seasons. The other 2 are Nikola Jokic and Jalen Brunson. So think about Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James. None of them have done what he has done other than Nikola Jokic and Jalen Brunson. In game 4, should I say, he put up 37 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 steals in that game. He tied Charles Barkley and Tim Duncan in 35-point playoff games with 11. And Joe, he passed him in game 5. In game 5, he had 35 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. He was 4 or 5 from 3. The Celtics could not hit from 3 in the first half at all. And they were actually down. But guess what? Who hit the first 3 for the Celtics? Jason Tatum. He sparked that offense to hit more threes in the second half than they did because they hit nothing in the first half. After he did that, he pretty much took over the game. Jason Tatum took over. This is what we wanted to see from Jason Tatum. We wanted to see him take over a game and actually be the best player on the floor. And we clearly saw that in game 4 and 5 for the Celtics. Joe?
Yeah, I want to give him a lot of props because he had a slow start in game 1. He wasn't making nothing. And he didn't play game 2, and Jaylen Brown had a really good ending of the game. But game 3 and game 4 and game 5, he's clearly has been the Celtics' best player. Gotta give him props for that. So what we want to see from Tatum is for his game to continue to rise as the playoffs go, as the competition gets more stiffer. Now, the New York Knicks presents a different opportunity because Orlando Magic, I feel like it's a more physical team. And I think playing Orlando prepares you a lot better for New York because New York is not as physical, but New York offensively is much better than Orlando. So they have shooters, they have scorers, they have guys who can go bucket for bucket with you on a consistent basis. So do Paolo can, but everybody else, they can't on Orlando Magic. So I want to see Tatum take it to a different level against the Knicks. But I'm really watching Tatum not in these first 2 rounds, not in the first 3 rounds. I'm watching Tatum in the NBA Finals. When he's in the NBA Finals, how is he looking? Is he going to stand out than the rest of the players that he's the guy? Like, is he going to up his season average in the NBA Finals, not lower it? That's what's been going on in the NBA Finals. His averages are very low. It's like in the low 20s, basically. So I want to see him up. And now I'm not talking about passing, rebounding. He's going to do that because the type of player he is. He's consistent at rebounding, scoring, and defense. That's one thing I don't want to put to the side. That's very important. He does, though. He has those things. The scoring, though, the main thing, I want that to up in the NBA Finals. I do. Unless y'all just straight blowing them out. But if there are close games, Tatum, let's go. So first 3 rounds, I expect him to do what he's doing, but I'm really evaluating him in the NBA Finals.
Yep. And I mean, look, their matchup is against the Knicks in the second round. And remember, the Knicks couldn't beat a top team in the regular season. They just couldn't. They couldn't beat the Cavs, couldn't beat OKC, couldn't beat the Celtics. They could not. But y'all know me. I say that's the regular season. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. So, we haven't made our predictions on that yet. And you'll see that soon. But Jason Tatum has, at least so far in the first round, shown that he's the best player for the Celtics. Last year in the finals, though, we saw Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP. And people like to say, well, Tatum led the team in stats. We saw that. But y'all, if you watch the games, you can clearly understand that stats don't tell it all. They don't tell the story. So, Tatum, you are a Celtic. So I don't want you to win it all. But you are still a Duke guy. So I want you to do well. So at least do something so people could stop saying that you don't have aura. I don't believe that you're soft. I think that's just, people who's just randomly just saying wild things about you. I don't believe that you're a soft player, but you gotta people still question if you are the best player on the team because they seen Jaylen Brown take over. He was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and the Finals MVP. So it's not like he just won the Finals MVP. He won both. So we got to see more. But as of right now, you are a dog. All right. Now for the very last one, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while on this show. Joe, since you are my guest, I want you to introduce the big dog of the week for today's show.
I don't know if this is like because he was a former king, but the big dog of the week, this guy, I would say that I'm very proud of this kid, man. He was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and then we traded him for as a bonus. And at the time, I was okay with it because he had De'Aaron Fox. You had to pick one or the other. That's what they say. But then we traded Fox the year after he gets to the Eastern Conference Finals and gets to the IST Finals, basically. Eliminated Milwaukee, eliminated the Celtics on his route to the IST tournament for a championship. A lot of people put that tournament to the side like it ain't important, but as you saw, what it did is it ignited the Eastern Conference Finals run to lose to the Celtics. But without this guy, he got hurt. People forget about that part. Come back this year. The offense is not as good as last year because they broke the record for the highest offensive rating last year. Come back this year, and there were some concerns. Is Indiana as good as they were last year? And they come into the first round with the same matchup they had last year. But this time, Giannis is here. He wasn't there last year. A lot of the talks were they didn't have Giannis. And a lot of people, a lot of smart people, including myself, including Dave too, I think, including Dave, we picked the Bucks. And what they do? They beat them in 5 games. And not only beat them in 5 games, Tyrese Halliburton in overtime was the best player. Tyrese Halliburton ended the game with a game winner, and that's why he is the big dog of the week. This is right after he is voted the most overrated player in the NBA by his peers. And the first thing he did when he got home, well, when he got in his car or the locker room, overrate that. He tweeted that. So shout out to him for being the big dog of the week. Well deserved. And Ty, y'all won the trade. Keep time.
Little boy, he just keep bringing it up. In game 5, Tyrese Halliburton put up 26 points, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. And I mentioned this before. He iced the game by calling to put Giannis on him. He called for the pick so Giannis could be his match. And he crossed him to get to the paint and drive and make the layup on Giannis to win the game in overtime against the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks were up by 7 points in overtime. And they lost it. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the most consistent playmakers in the NBA. The guy does not turn the ball over. And for the season, he had 673 assists and 120 turnovers. That's the most assists in the season with fewer than 125 turnovers since the merger. Now, he doesn't have a lot of points, but that's not what Tyrese Halliburton is there for. He can score a lot of points, but he has a team around him. He got Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin. I can't remember the point guard, the other guard, Andrew Nembhard. So you got him as well. Tyrese Halliburton averaged 15.5 points, almost 7 rebounds, but he also had 12. He averaged 12 assists. So the man was a double. It was a guaranteed double-double. If he's on the floor, just know he's not going to turn the ball over that much. He's a great playmaker. And he makes some highlight passes as well. You know, Obi Toppin, whenever he sees Obi Toppin, just know it's an alley-oop waiting to happen. Tyrese Halliburton deserves to be deserves to be the big dog of the week because he dealt with some controversy as well. So not only did he play well, he dealt with controversy because of his dad. And he held his dad accountable. He was like, nah, he was wrong. He should not have done that whatsoever. And the Pacers, after talking to Tyrese Halliburton and his dad, agreed to make sure that his dad is banned. So not only did he play well, the guy, and after his presser, after he found out that Dame got hurt, he also was like, man, I understand what y'all saw as far as me and Dame going at it, but that's on the court. I want to make sure Dame gets better. I want him to be healthy. Never wish that upon another player. And I hope for a speedy recovery. So the guys that people call him overrated, and they say that he talks a lot of trash, because I hear this a lot of times when it comes to this. When it comes to like Tim Hardaway Sr. talking about him, saying he talks a lot of trash. He thinks he does good. And then that pretty much led them to where they are now. Because for a while, I didn't like the Pacers were going to be that good. Ty was talking about trading Tyrese Halliburton before that happened. And then he caught fire after that. So they lit a fire under this guy. Then they voted him the most overrated player in the league. And now look at what he's doing. I feel like you turned your mic on for a reason. You had something.
Hold on. Ty wasn't going to trade it.
You don't remember that in the chat?
No, I don't.
He was like, man, good trader. He might have been trolling, but I know he said it multiple times. He definitely said it. He said he wasn't playing good, and you gotta get it done. So
shout out to Rick Carlisle too for igniting him.
Absolutely. He definitely did. He definitely did. So Tyrese Halliburton, man, you are deservingly so the big dog of the week. And that concludes Dave's Doghouse for this week. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Joe, for asking to come on the show. So I'm glad that you're here. Like I said, I told you this before. I want more people to come on my show. So I appreciate you allowing this to happen. And last words.
Shout out to Dave's Doghouse. Shout out to this awesome show. If y'all not subscribed, man, make sure y'all do so. Hit the subscribe button. This is a very unique show. As you can see, I don't think it's another show like this. So make sure y'all tune into this on a weekly basis. But yeah, man, keep doing your thing. I'm happy to be on. I had some time, and then you say you want to live. I'm like, yo, what's up? And you said I can come on. So appreciate you for inviting me on. And yeah, that's it.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm at 160. I'm at 160 subscribers. I mean, I know y'all tuning in, man. I see the eyes. I know y'all watching. I see Bibby commenting and everything. So do what y'all do, man. I mean, it don't take long.
Can we get my man to 200 this month? Can we do that?
Can we do that? Just 200. I ain't asking for a lot. Just 200.
By the time June comes, 250. How about that, y'all? 250 good? Let's do it.
Let's get it, man. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate y'all. And see y'all later on at 7 p.m. R2L. Peace out.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.